Hello and welcome back to What Now, your A-Level Results Day show brought to you by Not Going To Uni. If you've just tuned in, I'm Ethan and we have already spoken to the RAF, but don't worry, we have 3 more great sessions for you to enjoy. If you've missed any of today's sessions already, you can watch it back on demand on YouTube at any time. Now, if you couldn't tell by the video that's just played, I'm joined now in the studio by 3 people from the West Midlands Police. Welcome, guys. Thank you very much for coming along. I think it's probably best if we just start off with some introductions. So if we work our way around the table, just introduce who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I'm PC Henry from Sutton Coldfield Response. Been in the job about four years, touching my 5th year now. And day-to-day roles is just responding to calls, really.
Nice.
Hello, I'm PC Eva and I'm currently within the L&D Centre, so that's the Tally-Ho Centre, and I'm on the detective pathway.
Great.
Hi, I'm Katie from recruitment. I've been working there about 2 years. I'll be recruiting PCs, specials, PCSOs, but obviously we're here to talk about police officers today. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for those introductions. So if we start with you, PC Henry, let's talk about first what inspired you to become a police officer and join up to the force.
Yeah, so I mean the main thing is definitely helping people. Sort of growing up with a big sort of friendship group and being that one person that can sort of help people. I feel like West Midlands Police is a way to sort of broadcast that on a wider scale, and especially with the role that I'm in now. If you call 999, most likely it's going to be me turning up. So that main sort of thing is getting fulfilled really. So, but as well, sort of community engagement. So some jobs we go to, some people have some preconceptions of the police.
Yeah.
And as soon as they see the uniform, it's instant sort of hatred and things. I like to try and be the barrier to sort of break it down, speak to people, explain the process, and leave that job thinking, okay, well these people hated me when I turned up, but now we're best friends and happy to talk to police officers. So those are the two main ones really.
Yeah, nice. I like what you said there about there being some sort of like instant hatred or like worry when you first see a police officer. When I was driving into the studio this morning, a police car followed me in and instantly I was like, oh, no, I've done something wrong, they've been following me.
That's it. Indicators go on.
Yeah, exactly. 10 to 2, 10 to 2.
Yeah. That's it.
But yeah, no, it's nice to hear that you want to be the kind of the change for that and be a friendly face when people are going through some of their darkest and hardest moments.
And that's it, yeah, just talking to people and again helping them. And hopefully by the time you've left, you've changed the whole mindset and you can leave a bit happier and they're a bit happier really.
Nice. We move on. You said you worked in the L&D Centre, is that correct?
Yeah, so I'm currently on the detective pathway.
Okay.
And then I'll be operational and that's on response, and then I go into CID.
Amazing. What does that entail and what kind of made you choose that path once you'd...
So I graduated last summer.
Nice.
That was in forensics. And then, so I wanted to be a forensic scientist. But when you work as a scientist, it's quite an isolated role sometimes. And so with the police, it's a much wider network. Obviously, you're working with a lot of different people with different backgrounds. But there's no 2 days that are the same. And I just wanted something a bit more stable.
Yeah.
Which is quite funny to say considering every day is different. But I just wanted something with a bit more excitement. And that knowing that people have your back and you have other people's back as well. And I think the same as what PC Henry just said, it's about having, being a friendly face to people as well. Because with our job, a lot of the time you're meeting people on the worst day of their life. And it's just about being one of the small good aspects of that day for them.
Yeah.
If they look back, they don't want to remember the police officer that was rude to them, roll their eyes, or when they were talking, or when they're going through, again, one of the worst moments of their life. It's about being able to provide that support for people, I think.
Yeah. So what would you describe as the differences between what you do now and what you wanted to do when you went into as a forensic scientist? I know that they sound very different, but for the people watching, can you describe what those differences are from where you wanted to be and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so with a forensic scientist, you're basically in a lab, you're given DNA deposits, you're given exhibits, and you basically analyse those. And they were the type of people that would feed that information back to police if they give us samples.
Yeah.
So rather than working adjacent to the police, I decided to actually join.
Okay.
And yeah, so rather than being given the exhibits, I'll be the one giving the exhibits.
Nice.
And then on the detective pathway, so again, you investigate a crime, you know what you have the exhibits, you're given that. So rather than being a police forensic officer, I'll just be the actual detective, if that makes sense.
Nice.
Yeah. And so the police forensics, they'll go out at the scenes, get the exhibits, and then I'm basically following up with CCTV, talking to suspects, victims, doing the interviews. So 2 very different roles, but sound quite similar.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. And Katie, obviously today we're talking about what after school for all of those who have got their results today, and you in recruitment obviously play a big part in people joining the police. So can we talk about what recruitment means, what kind of skills you need to have, and what it means for the guys watching at home?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously everyone would have got their results today for their A-levels. So we have 2 entry routes really for those people that have gained A-levels today. So if you want to get a degree, you can do that alongside the police. So we have the police constable degree apprenticeship. So if you really, really do want to get a degree, but you also want to be like working on the job as a police officer, then you can join using that. So you need your level 2 English and maths, and then 80 UCAS points to join on that route. And you do get a free degree as well, if that's something that you would like to do, which is really, really good. If you're not interested in going to uni, don't want a degree anymore, just want to get into the job, then you can join on our PSEP route, which is level 2 English and any level 3 qualification or 2 A-levels to a grade E and above. So obviously, with whatever kind of results you've got, we're happy to look through, help pick the best route for people. We have got a lot of entry routes, I've just mentioned 2 there, but we've got loads of ways for people to join. And obviously, as you were saying, we've also got detective specialisms as well. So loads of stuff, we're happy to look through everything that people have that they want to send.
Amazing. You mentioned there's something called, was it PSEP?
Yep. Oh, sorry. So that's a police constable entry program.
Yeah.
So that's basically you're not getting education along the way, so you're learning on the job for that route.
Okay.
So they're kind of the 2 main differences. So join in to get a degree, join in not to get a degree.
Amazing. Well, thank you. That was really, really helpful. We kind of touched on it in a little bit of, all of your introductions, but can we talk about the most rewarding aspect and the biggest challenges of your role? Obviously working in very different areas of the police, but I'm sure the guys at home want to know kind of the extremes and the ups and downs of what you get into day to day.
Sure. So for my role, I know response, like I say, you get called to anything. So you could go to, we're saying outside someone's cat stuck up a tree, or you could get called to a very serious car accident. I guess challenges, dealing with those sort of serious incidents. You will see some things most people never see in their life, and you'll see it a fair few times, maybe in a week or a month. So dealing with that, some people do struggle. There's things in place from the job to help you with that stuff, but that's definitely one of the challenges. And then also trying to switch off from that when you go home, because obviously you've just seen something quite bad, and it doesn't really end as it's in your mind. So dealing with that, I guess, is one of the challenges. But alongside that, the rewarding bit is you've seen what you've seen, and it's what you've done to help them, and being able to coordinate the other emergency services into that serious car crash and getting that person the help they need. If it is something a bit more malice, setting up the scene where someone might come with the whole forensics option and start investigating things, and at least that family will have the best sort of outcome for what they're looking for. Alternatively, another one would be saving the cat that's up in the tree. So response, it's a completely different day every day, and the challenges literally could be anything, but there's things in place to help you sort of overcome those things, and the rewarding bit is helping the people. So.
Yeah, really interesting. I liked what you said there about struggling to turn off, because I think lots of people working lots of different types of jobs can relate to that. I work in a wine company in digital marketing, and sometimes I go to bed and think about stuff I could have done differently, and I cannot imagine going home having to think about something as traumatic as you might have seen today.
Yeah, so I mean there's set things in place that obviously police officers need to do, and if you use the car crash for example, your role is to sort of see if there's any victims first, and then sort of work down the list of offenders, witnesses, a whole scene. And sometimes you could be the first officer there and it's just you for a good 5-10 minutes until other people can get to you, other emergency services get to you. So sometimes you go home thinking, did I do the right thing in those 5-10 minutes? Have I done the best I can to get the sort of outcome that this whole investigation needs? It's just being able to deal with it, contact with friends and family, and you get through it. So yeah.
Amazing. We'll carry on the same question as we move around the table. So the biggest challenges and rewarding aspects of what you do.
I think in terms of challenges, when it comes to solving crimes, you realise that a lot of people are actually desensitized to these things, and it's about humanizing the people. So, for example, if you read the news, you see a newspaper or something, and it's about a murder that's happened, I think a lot of people forget about the family behind the victim, and it's, again, about humanizing it, realising that there are people behind that who have been affected, and these things aren't just a one and done. It goes back generations, you know, it hurts a lot of people, and it will carry on to do that, and it's just about being able to help the right people at the right time and being the right kind of person for them at that time. So I think that bleeds into both a challenging and rewarding aspect of it, the challenging being dealing with people in their most painful moments, and the rewarding being able to do that for them. And yeah, like PC Henry said, it could be very hard to switch off, but it's about putting them first. We are in a role that's very public facing, public serving. We work for the public, and it's about being able to perform at your best whenever you can, and you can't do that if you're not able to switch off. So it's about taking the time for yourself as well, and realising that it's not just about policing the public, but police yourself, take care of yourself as well.
Yeah, that's a really good saying. I think I might keep that myself. Maybe less of policing the public, but more of policing myself. And then obviously, Katie, you're working in a very different role to these two guys here, but I'm going to pose the same question to you about the challenges and rewarding aspects as well.
Yeah, so mostly just to focus on the rewarding aspects of recruitment. I love meeting the candidates, helping them through joining their dream role. Like, I speak to so many people on a day-to-day basis, and they say, I met a police officer when I was 3, and they inspired me to join, and they show photos with little police hats on and all sorts, and everyone has a story and a reason behind why they want to join. So just helping them succeed, helping them with the assessments that they need to complete to join, and just being there for the candidates and helping them through that journey. And I find my job rewarding when they get that offer of employment and they've reached their goal, like they've got their dream job, they've got their career. So that's something I find really rewarding. Challenges, obviously we are the second largest police force, so we have a lot of candidates, a lot of applicants, and sometimes, you know, balancing that can be quite difficult for the recruitment team, but we do our best, obviously, to help everyone along their journey. So yeah, that's what I enjoy about it anyway.
Amazing. Really, really interesting, guys. A really important conversation to be having as well. Now, I don't know who will be best to answer this question, so I'm just going to pose it to the room and pick it up if you think that you have something to add. We want to talk about what happens after you join up, what kind of the progression looks like, how easy is it to progress, what kind of what are the tools and the skills you need to develop in the kind of the early stages of your career to progress, and then what are the routes available for you once you've joined up?
So once you sort of pass the training, you do some sort of like student rotations. So you pick up the different teams. So I'm a tutor on my response shift, and we'll get students come for about 6 weeks. They'll have a taste of response, fill out their portfolio, and then they might go to CRD, for example, and do the same there, look at the interview side. Once you've done that, you then land on your substantive team, wherever you've been placed. Once you pass your portfolio, you are free to sort of pick where you want to go. You have to apply. There's all sorts of different roles. So I know for me, the front-facing ones and response ones are, you know, your more Gucci firearms ones, traffic. But there are different teams like OSU, so Operational Support Unit, who are doing a lot right now with the whole riot scene and protests. So it's mainly them being the front ones, but also they work the football games. So if you're big on football, it's a good little department to be on. But as long as you've done your 2 years, you can start going to different departments across the same level. And then obviously, if you want to progress, you have different ranks. So you have your sergeants, inspectors, and you keep climbing until ultimately you become the top one, chief constable. And you just apply and do your portfolios, and you get through to the different teams.
Amazing. I think speaking as someone who is not involved in the police at all, I think we forget sometimes that you're not just a police officer. There are lots of different aspects of it. So the people, like you said, that you see at football games or sporting events and concerts aren't the same people that you see out on the street, going to burglaries or other crimes.
I'm sure you could say a bit more. That's just the front-facing ones. You could go behind the scenes, and there's all sorts of different departments that pick up the stuff after. I'd
say, having recently joined the role, I'm still learning about new departments, and I'm like, oh, cool, I want to do that. And then I learn about something else. I'm like, oh, maybe I want to do that. I'm like, okay, so how long until I retire? So if I do this for this long, and then this for this long. But recently I learned about public orders, like I was saying about the riots, and I thought that was really cool. And then I saw the shield. I was like, oh, I definitely want to do that because the shields look really cool. But I've really been interested in joining the murder squad, basically.
Yeah.
So that's within CID. So for me, the roles will be slightly different to what you'd have as a PC as opposed to a DC. So I'm still learning about new roles every single day. And I think I just learned about OSU as well. So every day's a school day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's endless roles.
And then Katie, looking at kind of more like back office staff, more administrative roles, is it just very similar to any other company in terms of progression? Is it something like, where I progress through the roles and then there's kind of managers and directors and stuff like that? Or does it work in a similar way to the police force where you have ranks in terms of progression?
I guess it depends. West Midlands Police is a huge organisation. There's a lot of staff roles as well. We also have staff apprenticeships that people may be interested in joining, and then you can kind of just keep applying for different things. The joy of a big company is if something comes up that you're interested in, you can apply for that as well. Just keep applying for different things. There's, as you said, there's so many routes that you can go down, staff or uniformed roles. There's just so much that you can do. So kind of it is good once you're in, you kind of can see the wider picture and learn about everything that's on offer. So it is a great place to be, really, in terms of opportunities.
Amazing. I'm just looking through my questions here, and we've covered a lot of the stuff to do with actually getting the roles and progressing and stuff. I want to talk a bit more again now about when you're actually in the role. So there are questions here about how important certain aspects of the role are. So obviously for you, PC Henry, one of the biggest ones would be, I guess, physical fitness and stuff like that. Can we talk about if there's requirements and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I believe when you join your initial training, there's a bleep test.
Yeah.
Which I believe is 5.4.
5.4, yeah.
5.4. So you need to make sure you're fit enough to run 5.4 on the bleep test. And then once you start progressing, so you're more front-facing roles, like I mentioned, firearms. Obviously, they've got to carry a bit more kit. So their vests are heavier. They've got more weapons on them. So their fitness requirements are a bit higher. So it's I think about 9.6. So it's a bigger gap.
Yeah, big jump.
And if anyone's done the bleep test before, 5 to 9 is a big jump. But then the other roles, as you start coming down, so the OSU are public order trained, they'll need to hit, I believe it's 6.5. If you carry a taser, you need to constantly hit 5.4. So it basically goes, the more kit you carry, the fitter you have to be. So yeah.
It's interesting when you said there about the bleep test, because you said you, like most people, remember it from school and stuff like that, and as soon as you said it, I got shudders. I hated doing them at school. But at least we know that, those that are carrying more and more kit and going to more and more, I assume, serious crimes and stuff like that, at least we know that they're at the kind of pinnacle of their fitness, and we're not going to be worried about a police officer getting left behind because he's not quite quick enough.
As soon as you pass on to whichever course you're on or whichever department, if you're not hitting that sort of fitness requirement, then you either taken off until you do hit it, or they'll just say just come back when you're a bit more fit to work on your running and stuff. So if you are in that role, just make sure your bleep test is up to scratch and you'll do well.
There are also accommodations as well for people who might need a bit of extra help. So rather than doing the up and down, you can also do it on a treadmill. So there are options for people as well.
I think I'd prefer that one. Sit in a nice warm room rather than out in the rain and the mud. I think I'll stick with the treadmill.
Oh no, we do it in the hall, it's okay.
Oh, okay,
we
good.
do it in the hall.
So I want to talk about skills now. Obviously working very different roles. What kind of skills would you look for if you were recruiting for someone in your role? If you were sitting there with a bunch of candidates and you were looking for skills that you think are really important, what would your, let's say, top 3 skills be?
Okay, for me, response role, teamwork is number 1. You need your friends really to help you out. Again, if we use that car crash example, there's a lot of things going on, and if you're just being a sort of solo hero, as they say, you're quickly going to sort of fall under all the work. So teamwork's definitely one. Approachable, I say, is definitely one. And I would say just determined to get the job done, really. Definitely top 3 for me.
Those are definitely skills that I look for in a police officer.
Yeah.
I'd say patience,
Mm.
because you never know who you can be dealing with. Some people might struggle to get their words out, struggle to describe what's happened to them, what's going on. So definitely being able to be patient, and also sometimes you just start guarding the scene for about 4 hours and you just have to think about what you're going to watch when you get home.
Yeah.
But again, it's just about having that patience. Another thing I'd look for is engagement, because if somebody's telling me a crime that's happened to them and I'm just rolling my eyes looking at the watch thinking, I could be having chips right now. You know, it's like you want to be someone that people can talk to and can trust. And for the third one, I'd say, again, probably just determination, wanting not only to do the best for yourself, but for other people as well. Again, it's a public-facing role. You're working for people. It's about doing the best for them, for yourself, and finding that middle ground. So.
Amazing.
I'm going to do it a bit differently. So when we're looking for police officers, the 3 things that we're looking for are communication, people that can talk to people. So we find sometimes people are very used to being on screens, phones. We want people that can engage with people in real life. Being friendly and approachable. Again, it kind of links in. Being someone that you can talk to. And then a team player. In our interviews, we're always looking for team players, people that help one another and really, help each other out. It's just a really important part of the role.
You hear a lot about like the police being like a family, but you spend so much time around these people that it does become that at some point. Like the most important days, Christmas, holidays, birthdays, you spend a lot of time around them, and at some point it's like, it's a lot about teamwork. You can't solve a crime on your own. You can't deal with an RTC on your own. It's about having people behind you and being able to back those people as well.
Yeah, that's really lovely to hear, because I think lots of people, well, the majority of people wouldn't want to go into a job where you feel very isolated. Obviously, there are some people that really enjoy that and kind of flourish off of working alone, but for those sitting at home, I'm sure that they don't want to, like lots of them won't want to feel that isolation. So knowing that, you know, especially when you go to, like we spoke about earlier, some of the darkest days in people's life, and you're then struggling and dealing with that trauma on your own, it's really nice to hear that you're all there for each other. You can all kind of relate to what each other are going through and help in every way you can. So that's really lovely to hear. And I suppose now we're coming to the end of this session, we would like to ask what advice you would give for anybody who's looking to join up to the police force in your role or in the police force in general.
Yeah. I think for the police, you can join pretty much when you're 18, can't you? Yeah. So you can join at different life sort of experiences. I know some people who joined when they were 40, 50 odd that were on my cohort, and like we said, you can join when you're 18. So the advice would just be just get yourself out there, get yourself as much experience as you can, because it really helps you when you go and deal with certain communities, certain people. It will really, really, really help you. Another thing would probably be, especially for front-facing role, keep the fitness up. If you are planning to be out there on the streets, especially if you want to specialise, just keep the fitness up and get that experience in.
Amazing.
I suppose my advice would be trust yourself a lot more, like believe in yourself a lot more than you think you do, because some people think of a certain role and they think, I could never do that because, but it's tailored in a way that there's always support for you no matter what you're going through. In my cohort, there are some people who have neurodivergence, and there's always something there for you. Like whether it's reading aids, whether it's people to speak to, there's always something there. So I think put yourself out there because you never know.
Yeah, amazing.
I think just apply, like we're the recruitment team, we're here to help you apply. Just if you're not sure, just apply, and we're here to help you. If you've got a question, email us, just do it. And hopefully these guys have put across you won't regret it. It's a really good job to be in and something really exciting, so just do it.
Amazing. Can we touch a little bit on what the application process looks like? How, if I'm sitting there at home right now going, these guys have spoken about the police and I really want to join, what's my first steps to joining up?
Yep, so if you go onto the West Midlands Police website, you can literally click apply, obviously choose the route that you want to do. I won't lie, it is quite a long process, there's a lot of tests that you need to do, but there is help and support along the way. So you'd apply, we'd look at your application, see everything's okay, and then you go through to complete the national SIFT, which is a national online test that every police force has to do. So you do that and pass it, you get your result instantly. And then you'll be put forward for the National Assessment Centre, which is again a national test that every police force has to do it. You get a week to do that one. It's all online, 3 exercises. So you do that, get your results back about 4 weeks later. Then you'll do an interview. So you'll come in and meet me, and I'll take you through your interview. And once you've done that, that'll be the test done. So you'll go through to the onboarding team. That's when you do your fitness test. You fill in like a medical form, things like that, vetting forms. And once all of that clears, you'll get your offer of employment as well. So that's really exciting. When people get that final offer, that's like when they're starting. So that's like the really exciting part. But yeah, it is a long process, but it's definitely worth it. And there's loads of support, particularly from Skies, to help with that.
Amazing. You mentioned there were 2 tests that you mentioned, the National SIFT and the National Online Assessment Centre.
Yeah.
What does National SIFT just sounds ridiculous to me. What actually is that?
So that is an online multiple choice ethical based questionnaire. So you do that on the College of Policing website, so you'll be guided through like how to sign up for that and things, but it's literally like they give you like a scenario or like a statement, and you have to click, it's multiple choice, you have to click the one that most applies to you, and that's kind of judging your like ethical decision making. So that one's all multiple choice, and that's an instant computerised result. The other one is the National Assessment Centre, which is a bit more complex. So you do 3 exercises. There's like an online interview, a competency-based interview, a written exercise where it's like writing, typing away, and the last one's like a briefing exercise. So you're in front of the computer or the phone doing that over the period of a week. But that one gets marked. Each exercise gets marked individually, so that one takes a bit longer to get the results back. So that bit's quite painful for some candidates because they've obviously put their heart and soul into this assessment centre and they're waiting 3, 4, 5 weeks to get the results back. But it's looked at really carefully to make sure that obviously it's going through properly. It's a bit like results day in a way. You have to wait to get your results back.
We've come full circle.
You've recently done this, haven't you? Yeah.
Amazing. And we're literally just coming to the end of our session here, guys. So one final question for you. We're going to keep it short and snappy. Why the West Midlands Police? That is a tongue twister.
The second biggest city, so one of the biggest forces. Diverse community, diverse people. Every day is different. You'll never regret it.
Amazing.
I think the same as well. So many different people to meet. It's just great. Like, there's not really much else I could say. There's a lot that you'll deal with, and some of it will be really, really funny. And you have a story to go back to the station with. But yeah, there's always different people to talk to, different people to meet. So yeah,
amazing.
It's really good.
I just think the opportunities and the support are endless. We've got a lot of competition with the police forces and things like that, but second largest police force, amazing amount of opportunities, and it's just like a family as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, guys, for your time today. I really, really appreciate it, and thank you to our audience. If you have any more questions for the West Midlands Police or any of our employers today, please make sure to find them in the chat and we'll get back to you when we can. Up next, Harry's going to be joined in the studio by the Royal Navy and taking a look at all of the opportunities they have on offer, so stay tuned and don't go away.